Bob, good morning. Joe Spadoni alongside Joe Shasky. And let's dive right into it. You had a little excerpt over the weekend in one of your articles in regards to the Giants after they made the Patrick Bailey trade. This is what it says. The Giants would love to unload outfielder Jung-Ho Lee, shortstop Willy Adames, first baseman Rafael Devers, and Matt Chapman, and start over. So I guess I'm asking this, Bob. Do they already have buyer's remorse on the Devers, Adames, and Chapman contracts? And good morning.
Yeah, morning. Yeah, they have to at this point, unless these guys get going. Particularly Devers. I mean, I know he been better the last couple of days, but he's been a shadow himself since the Red Sox days. Adames hasn't looked anything like he did in Milwaukee. Chapman, they know him, of course, and they signed that extension, and he probably would have got that money from somewhere else. But he just hasn't, produced those numbers yet either, and neither has Lee, of course.
Bob, there's just a logjam of position players right now. Raffy at first in DH, Schmidt kind of as your super utility and your DH, and his emergence has been very special. Adames at short, Chapman at third, Arise, who's been excellent at second base, and now Bryce Eldridge isn't getting any opportunities. Is there a world where they may explore trading Bryce Eldridge?
Might have to. Of course, you're not adding to his trade value by sitting. He needs to play. I mean, he's not playing with San Francisco. He needs to be, playing in Sacramento. He's got to play. But yeah, I mean, I know that was kind of raised over the winter, and they said no. But where are you going to play him? So I think there has to be a world where you listen to offers and see if somebody wants this guy and move him.
Well, Bob, then if it's not Bryce Eldridge, which one of these big contract guys is the most movable? Raffy, Adames, Chapman?
Probably, I don't know. Probably Chapman would be my guess. I mean, with the Adames, you'd have to eat a lot of that money. Same with Devers. Where Chapman, you probably have to eat, less than the other guys for sure. I would think Chapman would have more value at this point.
Bob Nightengale joining us here on the Morning Roast, covers Major League Baseball for USA Today. And Bob, what is your sense right now in talking to all these league execs and how the Giants have been viewed under the Buster Posey kind of era here as president of baseball operations? What is their standing around the Major League Baseball right now?
Well, just that they were bold in the moves, but they haven't worked out. So it hasn't been good. But, can things change? Sure. But right now they invest a lot of money, made the bold moves by, making the trade with Devers and that kind of contract for Adames. I don't think the Brewers even made an offer for Adames. And of course, hiring Tony Vitello. So, made some big gambles so far, and they haven't worked out.
Wow. I mean, they really have. What'd you make of the Buster Posey trade of Patrick Bailey?
I thought it was interesting, just the fact they gave up on him. And, pretty much, they just did it for the draft pick. You really can't trade draft picks, but since it was a comp pick, you can do it. So it gives them some extra money to draft. And I think, what they're hoping is to get the UCLA, shortstop to drop down the draft by, making it by telling him, hey, we'll give you a lot more slot value than these other teams will. So I think it was strictly, move for the draft. It wasn't like the pitcher they got, back, as a prospect, kind of like middling prospect type thing. I think it was just simply for money and just gave up on Bailey.
Hey, you're referencing the UCLA shortstop who everyone has projected to go number one overall. Is there any other examples where this has happened, where teams have figured out that they have a little more slot money and there's like a wink, wink, nod, nod to the player, and other teams maybe back off of a player who should have gone higher because they don't have enough money to sign said player?
No, it certainly happens. I mean, you see this a lot where, the number one pick in the draft isn't the best player. I mean, when Carlos Correa was drafted, no one had him as a number one. Astros took him number one. But you see this a lot. So the same thing can happen. I mean, if he, comes out and, tells these teams privately, hey, I'm not signing with you. I better sit out a year, go play somewhere else, Japan or something, and then I'll re-enter the draft. So you see that happen. You don't see a lot of it happen, but it's certainly possible here.
Bob, what are some names out there right now that could potentially become available, through a trade, what have you, that's not really getting discussed potentially that could become available in the coming months?
Yeah, I mean, it's so early. Pretty much right now, it's just the pitchers. Whether it's the pitchers from the Clay Holmes and Peralta from the New York Mets, that sort of thing. Houston Astros, have some pieces there that they can move. You pretty much look at the teams that are underperforming that have a big payroll and look at them. So it should be a busy one, particularly with the pitchers. I mean, everybody's looking for pitching help, and I think that's why teams too have an eye on the Giants. Like, okay, if they're still out of the race come in July, try to jump on Robbie Ray for sure, and see what it would take to get a Logan Webb.
What about Robbie Ray?
No, Robbie Ray definitely. I mean, they have to be in the thick of the race for them to keep Robbie Ray. He's a free agent. I've heard no talks that they're trying to sign to an extension or anything like that. I think Robbie Ray would definitely go, providing they're out of the race.
What do you make of Tony Vitello through about a month and a half? There's been some really good signs, and then there's been some kind of puzzling things, like not, calling out the appropriate pitcher, righty or lefty, to the bullpen the other night. How is he being received in terms of things that you're hearing around the league about his first month and a half?
Yeah, I think it's just a thing where everybody's kind of curious. It's kind of hard to judge him. It's not like he's got not like guys are clicking all cylinders here and they're still losing. So more intrigue. I mean, it's a big step, and I think the one thing you hear, is that okay, he probably needs some more help in that dugout just to let him know things and that. But it's a tough transition. I mean, it's one thing when you're coaching in college and say, okay, I'll take your scholarship away if you're not performing well. When guys got big contracts and stuff, you're not taking their contract away. So it's a big adjustment for him.
Hey, Bob, great stuff this morning. We really appreciate your time, and we'll do it again in the future, man.
All right, sounds good.
Thanks, buddy.
There he goes. Bob Nightengale covers Major League Baseball for USA Today. And yeah, he's basically saying if they continue on this path, the Giants, he would not be shocked if they move on from some of their big contracts. And the guy that, the name that just kept sticking out to me was Matt Chapman would be the one that's most sought after. And that makes sense, kind of what we're talking about today. I think he would be the one, he has $125 million remaining on his contract, Joe. And I don't see anyone.
That's it?
That's it. Yeah. Well, Willie's got 160. Jung-Ho Lee's got 85. And Rafi Devers just got a cool 226 and a half remaining on his. So other than that, things are great. Other than that, Giannis, you want him here? 888-957-9570. We can pivot back to the Warriors. We're allowed to do that. See, I'm not hamstrung on just because we have a guest from a different sport doesn't mean we can get right back into what we were talking about, people. It's okay. Do you want Giannis in the Bay and it's through a trade, so you'd have to trade him. I'm just going to ask it. Would you rather, there's two options I'm giving you, people. Trade for Giannis or sign LeBron James to a free agent deal? You don't have to give up prospects for LeBron. 888-957-9570. I think I know which one I want. It's LeBron James, the old man.
Look, if it costs you, just money, then yeah, I probably would do it as well. I just think these terms, contender, this move makes us this, or we catapult. I'm overhearing that. You can feel that way. I'm not going to believe it. I think the hard part for this team, I think for the bulk of this fan base, is to understand, and we had our time. It was a great run. It was awesome. I hope we get a couple more moments, but we're probably not winning anything of significance, and that's okay. I'm not mad at that. I do want to see them get a little younger and round this thing out. It doesn't mean you go full rebuild or whatever. Do a dignified, send off for whoever ends up staying. But we also have to start, thinking about surrounding these guys with other youngsters.